They say that silence has a sound. In my house, it sounded like a clock ticking in a room where no one ever goes. For 20 years, I thought that sound was peace. I thought it was the rhythm of a stable, happy life. I sat at the kitchen table yesterday, watching the steam rise from my tea. The house was quiet, just the way David liked it. He was always a man of routine. He liked his shirts pressed a certain way, his coffee black, and his secrets kept behind a smile that never quite reached his eyes. I never questioned it. Why would I? We were the perfect couple. But then I found the key. It wasn't hidden in a safe or buried in the garden. It was just sitting in the pocket of an old coat he hadn't worn in years. A small, brass key with a tag that had a name I didn't recognize. When I looked at that key, I felt a cold chill. It was the first crack in a wall I didn't even know I had built around my heart. I didn't know then that by the time the sun went down, my entire world would be gone. Everything I believed about the man I loved was a shadow. David and I met on a rainy Tuesday in autumn. I remember he offered me his umbrella, even though he was getting soaked himself. He was so kind, so soft-spoken. My mother used to say that David was a rock. He was the kind of man you could lean on when the world felt too heavy. We built a life together in this small town. We had our rituals. Every Saturday morning, we went to the farmer's market. Every Sunday, we sat on the porch and talked about the future. Or rather, I talked about the future and David listened. He was always a very good listener. He worked as an insurance adjuster, or so he told me. His job required a lot of travel. Sometimes he would be gone for 3 days, sometimes a week. I used to miss him so much it felt like a physical ache. I would wait by the window for his silver car to pull into the driveway. When he came home, he was always tired but affectionate. He would bring me small gifts, a stone from a river, a book he found in a used bookstore, a scarf. He told me stories about the long drives and the people he met. I believed every word. I had no reason not to. We didn't have children. We tried, but it just wasn't meant to be. David told me that I was enough for him. He said our life was complete just as it was. I felt so loved in those moments. I felt safe. I thought we were growing old together in a beautiful, honest way. Looking back now, there were signs. There are always signs, aren't there? We just choose not to see them because the truth is too scary to face. About 5 years ago, David started locking his home office. He said he was handling sensitive client files and didn't want me to accidentally see something confidential. I respected his privacy. I thought it showed how professional he was. Then there were the phone calls. Sometimes, late at night, I would hear him whispering in the hallway. When I asked him who it was, he would say it was just a worried client or a coworker. His voice was always so calm that I felt guilty for even asking. "I'm just doing my job, Sarah," he would say, kissing my forehead. "Go back to sleep." And I did. I went back to sleep, tucking the doubt away in a corner of my mind. But the doubt started to grow. I noticed he had 2 phones. He said one was for work and one was for us, but he never left the work phone lying around. He took it with him to the bathroom, to the garden, even when he went for a run. I started to feel like a guest in my own marriage. We were sharing a bed, but it felt like there was an ocean between us. He was there, but he wasn't present. His eyes would wander to the window while I was speaking. He seemed to be waiting for something. Yesterday was the day the ocean finally swept me away. David was away on a business trip, or what I thought was a business trip. He told me he was going to the city for a 3-day conference. I decided to clean out the hall closet. It was a chore I had been avoiding for months. That's when I found his old wool coat. I reached into the pocket, expecting to find a stray coin or a gum wrapper. Instead, I found that brass key and a small slip of paper. On the paper was an address. It wasn't in the city. It was only 40 minutes away, in a quiet neighborhood I had never visited. I don't know what possessed me to do it. I'm not a suspicious person, but my feet moved before my brain could stop them. I got into my car and drove. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel the whole time. When I arrived at the address, I saw a small blue house with white shutters. It looked so ordinary. In the driveway sat a silver car. Not David's car, it was a different model, but the man getting out of it was David. He wasn't wearing his suit. He was wearing jeans and a t-shirt. He looked relaxed. A young woman came out of the front door, and she was holding a toddler. David picked up the child and swung him around, laughing, a sound I hadn't heard in years. He kissed the woman. It wasn't a quick kiss. It was the kiss of a man who was home. I sat in my car, 3 houses down, and I forgot how to breathe. The man I had shared 20 years with wasn't an insurance adjuster on a business trip. He was a father. He was a husband to someone else. He had a whole life, a whole family, just 40 minutes away from our peaceful home. I didn't scream. I didn't run up to the door and cause a scene. I just drove back home in total silence. I felt like a ghost. I walked into our house, the house with the ticking clock, and I sat at the table. David came home 2 days later. He walked in with his suitcase, looking tired. "Hi, honey," he said. "The conference was exhausting." I looked at him. I really looked at him. I saw the lines around his eyes and the way he checked his work phone before even putting his bag down. "Who is the little boy in the blue house, David?" I asked. My voice was so quiet, I almost didn't recognize it. He froze. For the first time in 20 years, David lost his calm. His face went pale, and he sat down heavily in the chair across from me. He didn't try to lie. I think, in a way, he was tired of the lie, too. He told me everything. He had been living this double life for 6 years. He met her during one of his real business trips. It started as a mistake, then it became a habit, and then it became a family. He said he loved us both. He said he couldn't choose, so he chose to live in the middle. "I never wanted to hurt you, Sarah," he whispered. "But you did," I said. "You didn't just hurt me, you erased me. You made my last 6 years a fiction." We talked until the sun came up. There were no shouts, just a deep, heavy sadness. I realized that the man I loved never truly existed. He was a character he played for me, and the man in the blue house was a character he played for her. I asked him to leave, not because I was angry, but because I couldn't live with a shadow anymore. I needed to find out who I was when I wasn't waiting for a silver car to pull into the driveway. It has been 6 months since that night. The house is still quiet, but the ticking clock doesn't bother me anymore. I've started to fill the rooms with my own sounds. I listen to music he didn't like. I cook food he never wanted to try. I saw him once from a distance at a park. He was with the little boy. I didn't feel the urge to run to him. I just felt a strange kind of pity. Imagine the weight of carrying 2 lives on your shoulders. Imagine never being able to be your whole self in one place. I learned that you can never truly know what is in someone else's heart. We all have secrets. But I also learned that I am stronger than I thought. I thought David was my rock, but it turns out I was the one holding myself up all along. If you are listening to this and you feel like something in your life isn't right, trust that feeling. Don't be afraid of the truth, even if it breaks your heart, because it's better to live a difficult truth than a beautiful lie. I'm starting over now. It's not easy, and some days are very lonely. But for the first time in 20 years, when I look in the mirror, I know exactly who is looking back at me. And that is enough. Take care of yourselves, everyone.